Hey guys, welcome to the Touchdown Table. I'm Ryan, that's Tyler, that's Jordan. And in this video, we are going to talk about some rookies in the NFL. You know, we spent a lot of our preseason and off-season videos talking about the draft, grading picks, saying how we thought rookies would fare. So now that we're well over halfway into the season, we're going to take a look at some of these guys and see how they've done and just have a conversation about that. So who'd like to get us started?
I'll get us started here, and I'll start on the most obvious one, the guy who really should win the Rookie of the Year, no question in my mind, and that is, who is it, guys?
Josh Jacobs.
I didn't tell him that. They already knew that. That's
I was really hoping it was Josh
Yeah.
Jacobs.
No, it's actually Miles Sanders.
No.
But no, Josh Jacobs has had a very good season. He's already over 1,000 yards. He's at 1,061. Currently, he's averaging 4.9 yards per carry, and he is leading a struggling at times team in Oakland, but he is consistent through it all. He's a great running back. He was taken, 28 or something like that?
24.
24. So, a lot of teams early he kind of fell back, which he was expected to fall. Teams were expected to take him early, but he's proving how great of a running back he is. He's put up a great season. 218 rush attempts, like I said, and 1,061 rush yards. Touchdowns, he has 7 rushing. So he has been having a great season, and he's going to be one of the great running backs in the NFL to come.
Yeah, that's for sure. I mean, he's already showing what he can do. I think a part of the reason why he's a good running back in general. His story, of course, is very, very good. I'm not going to go into detail about that, but it's just a very feel-good story. But the reason why he's running so hard and so efficiently right now is because at Alabama, he didn't run very much. Nick Saban let him go easy because he didn't play much in college, and now he gets to play all the time in the NFL, and he's got so much gas in the tank. Unlike guys, you're seeing guys slow down like Todd Gurley now after a little bit in the NFL. Like, people are just running out of gas. He has so much gas, I think he can retain that for a long time, which is very, very scary for other teams.
Yep. There.
Well, okay. There's one more thing with Jacobs. What I think is really a big factor for why the Raiders probably liked him, and one thing that I noticed watching some of his Alabama film before the draft, he's just a guy that can help you keep up with the chains. Is he going to break off a 40-yard run every drive? Probably not, but will he get the job done? Is he a great guy to have when you're trying to milk the clock or just kind of like get into position to, get that kick? Like we see like these teams, and especially in the way they see this season is on, teams just struggling to ice games. He'd be such a great, he has been such a great go-to guy for them that Derek Carr can trust, because Derek Carr has not been that consistent. Just when we think he's starting to turn the corner, the Jets and the Chiefs happen. But I just think he's really a solid, rock for that Raiders offense to lean on in times that are going good for them and bad. He's just a great running back, as we all agree, contender for Rookie of the Year.
Absolutely.
All right, let's move on
Contender.
to our next guy that we want to talk about. This is interesting as well. Someone actually commented that they wanted to make a video about him, so we actually made this video in memoriam of this guy I'm about to talk about, and that's DK Metcalf.
Thank you for your suggestion, man.
Yeah.
I forget who it was. Tyler knows your name probably.
I can't remember.
Well, whoever
Well,
it
thank
is.
you.
This person put a comment in the comment section.
I'll just try to find it.
We
I
have
feel like they deserve their name to be shouted out, so I'll find it for you.
we have found the comment,
It's
and we are making a video off of it. We promise you that if you comment something and tell us to make a video off of it, we will do something. Maybe not exactly what you say, but we'll do something along the lines of what you say, just for you. So comment something. We will definitely try to make a video out of it. And thank you for commenting. I'm sure he's got the name.
Yeah, Alex Perez. That's who it was. So you got your suggestion.
Yes.
Hope you're watching
Thank
this video.
you, Alex Perez, and anyone else who decides to comment, please do that. Alex, thank you once again.
All right,
DK Metcalf talk.
Now let's start talking about DK Metcalf.
Thanks,
At Ole
Alex.
Miss, this guy was just such a workhorse and such a great player, especially for a team like Ole Miss, a team that really doesn't have that much of an influx of great players. But this guy was great in college. He went 64th overall in the draft. He almost dropped to the third round. And I know there's some receivers in front of him that are doing good. Marquise Brown has been one of them. But there's receivers that were drafted in front of him that have been nowhere near what he has done this year. I'm going to read some stats out for you guys. This is his 2019 season stats through week 13. It's pretty incredible. He has 44 receptions, 705 yards already for his rookie season, 5 touchdowns, and a 16 yard average per catch. I think that's just really high, obviously.
That is, and I think he's in a great system with a great offense, a great veteran quarterback, and a team that's a contender right now and currently holds a bye in the playoffs. So he's just in a great situation to succeed with that offense. But also, I think you mentioned how he fell, which sure, I think there were some times where maybe in the early stages of mock drafts we saw like things like that had him in the top 10, but then there were concerns about okay, you're a deep threat, but I think his 3-cone time at the combine wasn't great, and they were wondering, okay, you can run back and forth, but can you run those crossing routes? Which I think he's actually proven that. Obviously, I think the deep threat is his number one.
Of course,
his number one kind of.
He's got
thing.
16.
That's his forte.
Got 16 yards per reception.
Yeah, but I think he's kind of proven that he should have been a first-round pick with that. So it's just something interesting to point out there.
Yes, and among all rookie receivers, he ranks number 1 in yards. He has 705. And touchdowns, he's tied for 2 with 5. Marquise Brown leads that charge with 6. The only problem with DK Metcalf is fumble. He leads all rookies with 3 fumbles.
Mm-hmm.
So he's got to be able to keep that ball in his possession. Since it's his rookie year, I think that he will be able to adjust to that and become better in the future with that. But he does need to protect that ball. But DK Metcalf is putting on a great season for us, and a guy that some people we talked about, you could have seen him going in the first round, but no.
That's not what happened.
Yeah.
All right, Ryan, tell us about your guy that you want to point out.
Well, I want to talk about Kyler Murray, and I want to talk about all 5'10" of him, okay? So, I look at this guy, okay, the Cardinals eliminated from playoff contention. If you haven't watched any of our previous videos, I was never high on the whole take Kyler Murray number 1 overall thing. I'll keep it at that. I just didn't think it made any sense for the team or the player being picked. It just was never it never made sense. It didn't add up, and I didn't really buy into it, and I don't know why so many people did. But look, the stats, they're fine. I don't think that the Cardinals' struggles are all on him. I don't think he's a long-term answer to be their starter. I really don't, because it's just, we see this. It's happened before. These mobile guys that, they're just running all over the field in college, and I'm just like, oh my God, this guy's going to change the game. And then he has a solid good first year, maybe 2 first years. But then teams catch up to him. Running a lot means you get hit a lot. Your body takes a toll, and you just never are able to do that consistently. Don't tell me Kyler Murray's going to be running around like this for 10 years. The arm may stay for a little longer, but what makes Kyler Murray will not be there for that long. But, I will give him his credit where credit's due. He's not in a great situation. A not-so-good offensive line, not a great defense, first-year head coach. And, he's held his own. I will give him that. 14 touchdown passes to just 6 interceptions. But the offensive line is the problem. He's been sacked 41 times.
Yep.
I think part of that, obviously, with a mobile quarterback like that, could be on him. But when you're sacked 8 times in a game, as he was on September 22nd in the loss to Carolina, that can't happen. The offensive line has got to fix that. There's been some ups and downs, so what do you guys think about Kyler?
Well, I just want to, really quickly, the second part of what you were saying, it's all very good stuff. But the first half, you were talking about how Kyler Murray is just, you said that his performance is not leading up to where he was drafted picked in the draft at number 1 overall. Obviously, you see a number 1 overall guy, you expect something of a huge impact. He hasn't had that much of a huge impact, but then he started talking about the running game. And especially this year with Lamar Jackson, he's starting to prove that if you can get the right offense around him, which Cliff Kingsbury needs to adjust to that because he picked Kyler Murray for a reason. But we're seeing what Lamar Jackson can do in Baltimore, and that Kyler Murray, with his skills, can easily do the same exact thing as what Lamar Jackson's doing. And he has 2,866 pass yards already. He's going to probably make it to 3,000 by the end of next week.
Well, yeah, and you were talking about the run game. That's been a pretty much of a bright spot for him. I'll get to the passing stats in a second here, but he's got 446 rushing and 4 touchdowns, which 4 touchdowns is pretty good, if I'd say so myself. He's actually second among touchdowns against all rookies and rushing yards. Talked about Jacobs before. So he's been doing pretty good in that rushing category, which is part of the reason why they have him on this team. But the position that he plays is the quarterback position. So as this thing loads, there we go. No, not there we go. I clicked on receiving. And there we go. And there we go. And there he is. Okay.
There we go.
So you click on this, you're like, okay, he leads. Well, first of all, not all the rookies have been starting all season. He's the only one who's been starting all season.
Yep.
And the next one,
Yep.
second, is Gardner Minshew. And Gardner Minshew is actually from, like, based off of attempts and stuff like that. His stats actually are looking better to me, passing so far. He's only 400, a little over 400 yards away from Kyler Murray, and he has, quick math, 69 less attempts than Kyler Murray. Kyler Murray's thrown 6 picks. Minshew has thrown 5, and 2 of those I believe were in London, the game that he got benched, or maybe it was fumbles, but I don't know.
Yeah, there were a lot of turnovers.
Yeah. Well, but anyways, even Gardner Minshew is someone who no one would see coming, and Kyler, he's been putting up a decent season, but he is not. Remember, when was this guy drafted?
Too high.
That's correct. But I was looking for number 1, and especially at the quarterback position, especially in these days, if you're drafted number 1 and at the quarterback position, there are high expectations for you. And I mean, Kyler Murray hasn't lived up to it yet. He's got time. He's got a whole career in front of him.
Yeah.
But so far, he's just putting up average numbers, not number 1 quarterback overall numbers.
All right, we've talked a lot about offense. I have 3 defensive guys that I do want to talk about. All went early on in the first round of the draft. 2 that have played pretty well this season, and 1 that is not so much. So let's start off with the obvious one. Probably going to be the defensive rookie of the year, possibly the rookie of the year. And that
Before you say him, can I go back to offense real quick? I just want to say one more quick thing before we switch to the defensive gears of this video.
please do.
Okay. I want to talk about Daniel Jones here for a second.
Well,
And really, we could talk about all the rookie quarterbacks just because it's fun to talk about them. So I'll talk about Jones and Haskins. Haskins not as much because we haven't seen as much from him.
quickly, we
And
got
I
to get to the
could
defensive
sneak
players.
Sherlock in
No
there as
huddle,
well.
no huddle. Let's go.
Okay.
This is 2 minutes. Jones.
You give me 2 minutes? Okay.
Well, you know what I'm trying to say.
Daniel Jones, he has been a turnover machine with 11 turnovers, and I can't see fumbles because this thing's blocking.
A lot.
There's a decent amount.
Yeah, the most
of
fumbles
He has
in the
fumble
league.
problems.
Yeah. So he has been turning over
Which
the ball
was
a lot.
expected.
The thing is, he has a decent amount of yards.
Bless you.
I wasn't sneezing.
I know.
Coffee.
He has a decent. I was looking at something else. He has a decent amount of yards and touchdowns with 18. That leads all rookie quarterbacks. That's the position I'm talking about here.
The one
But
that
he
throws
is-
the ball.
Yeah.
That one. So he's just been turning the ball over a lot, so he needs to get better on the turnovers. He's getting the yards and the touchdowns, but that's not how you win games, as the Giants' record shows.
Yeah.
And then Dwayne Haskins, he haven't even looked at his stuff yet. He's thrown 6 picks, so it hasn't been the greatest for him. He hasn't played all the time yet, but he hasn't had too much help. The team around him is not that skillful, but he's been doing okay in the recent weeks, and he got 2 wins in a row now. So back to you and Joey Bosa, or Nick Bosa, not Joey.
Well, Joey Bosa's been having a pretty good season too, but Nick Bosa in his rookie year has been doing some great things at the defensive end position. He has 24 solo tackles.
It's pretty good.
Like Hans.
That's just by himself, and in total, I'm trying to find the number. It is 36 total tackles this season, 8 sacks, 1 forced fumble, and 1 interception. He's been going off. Obviously, at the defensive end position, you expect a lot of players that are drafted in the first round to have this type of an impact because the defensive end is where you normally see the sacks. He's got 8 of them, doing what he's supposed to be doing. Drafted number 2 overall. They got a really, really good player in Nick Bosa. The San Francisco 49ers do. They should be very glad that they drafted him.
Yeah, Nick Bosa,
Yeah.
Oh, no, I'm going to be real here. I'm going to be real here. You mentioned, Jordan, when you talked about Kyler Murray, you were like, yeah, he's hanging in there, but he's not doing what a number 1 overall pick is expected to do. They're not number 1 overall picks. They're supposed to do more than just hang in there. Now, Nick Bosa, this is a guy who's done more than just hang in there, and this is a guy that's putting up should have been number 1 overall pick numbers. I'm so
He's
glad.
right there.
Yeah.
He's right at number 2.
Yeah, but
I'm sure he's obviously
yeah.
mad he didn't get picked
I'm just so
number
glad
1.
that he got to beat the Cardinals twice. Honestly, I will say that. But really, like those numbers you mentioned, like he's done everything you expect a number one overall pick to do. That's instant impact on and off the field. He's brought energy. He's brought plays. He's really, like, he's a guy that other teams have to game plan for. You know, when the offensive line gets together in those walkthroughs the day before the game, they probably got to say, how are we going to stop this guy? And he's really emerged as the guy to stop on a really good 49ers defensive line.
Mm-hmm.
He's making a instant impact,
Yes. That's a key point.
which is why
That's the number one overall thing.
yes,
Impact.
that's what you got to do, make the instant impact. Now let's move to the interior defensive line, the defensive tackle position. Another good rookie that was drafted earlier in the first round was Ed Oliver.
It's your guy.
The stats are not. It's true. He is my guy. I've loved Ed Oliver for a while now, but his stats aren't as good as Nick Bosa's are. But that's because he's an interior defensive lineman. You don't see those guys getting as many sacks because they don't have the outside edge to get around and get to the quarterback.
The one that you'd probably know by name
Yeah.
is Aaron Donald. So.
Yes. That's
Unless
exactly what I was going to
routines.
mention. The only
Yes.
defensive tackle that you really see making that big impact is Aaron Donald. And this guy's made a great impact as well. Ed Oliver has 16 solo tackles, 28 total tackles, 5 sacks, and 1 forced fumble. No picks yet, but those will come eventually, even though it's tough in the interior defensive line.
Yeah, you know, I was watching that Dallas and Buffalo game on Thanksgiving, and when Ed Oliver made some of those big plays against the struggling Cowboys offense, I thought of you, and I was like, yeah, that's Tyler's guy. He was high on him. We finally got to see him
Steal the draft.
make plays. On national television. You know, the Bills really, that's a team that Bills really haven't been getting much attention, but, you know, they are the 5 seed right now. So Ed Oliver, you know, you mentioned the stats aren't great, but I think he's a guy that can continue to get better as he, you know, progresses.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't know, I just think it's funny because you mentioned how, like, that's a guy who's really good. He's just, like, I think he's not that much worse. I mean, I don't even think worse is a good word. I just feel like he's that. I don't think he's, like, on a different level than Nick Bosa. I think Bosa is better, but I think with potential and in a good system in Buffalo, I think the sky's the limit for him. I really do. It's just he needs more exposure.
Mm-hmm. And just to finish the video off, I'll name a few more defensive rookie stats off, just because we're.
I got one more,
towards the
too.
end.
Yeah.
Okay.
You go first, though.
Yeah. So I'm going to start. So we talked about number 9 overall in who we were just talking about, Ed Oliver,
Yep.
and I believe Devin Bush was 10. I believe the traders
Traded up for
him. Devin Bush has been doing pretty great, especially in the tackles department. He leads all rookies in tackles with 54, and he's got 2 picks this season at the linebacker position, got a forced fumble and a touchdown as well. So he's been doing pretty good. Another guy I want to talk about, Devin White,
Oh, yeah.
another linebacker position. He's been doing pretty good as well. He was out for a few games, but he has 44 tackles.
There we go. I was high on him, too.
Mm-hmm. 2 forced fumbles and a touchdown as well. And those are the 2 guys that actually have touchdowns for rookies. Taylor Rapp has been doing pretty good, 47 total tackles. And I'm saying tackles is just like solo tackles and not doing assists to this. But so they've been doing pretty good. And then we go to interceptions real quick. Devin Bush leads that one with 2.
How about that Steelers defense?
Yeah.
And everyone else is kind of like, you know, just there's no one who really pops out to you. But Devin Bush, he's been putting up a great season. And I didn't even know he was. I just clicked on his interceptions right now. I didn't know he was first. But Devin Bush, good job, man.
Yeah.
They're all having great seasons. And I thought it was.
Don't tell me about to talk about
it
Devin
was-
Bush.
No, I'm not. I think it's important that we also talk about a guy that hasn't lived up to expectations just yet. We talked about Nick Bosa, the number 2 overall pick. We talked about Kyler Murray, the number 1 overall pick. And just behind both of them is Quinnen Williams, picked 3rd overall by the Jets. And here's his stats this year. 12 solo tackles, 1.5 sacks,
12
Zero.
solo tackles.
0 forced fumbles, and 0 interceptions. He just... I know it's tough at the defensive tackle position, and he literally has nobody around him. The rest of the defensive line consists of him, Lorenzo, I don't even know his last name, Steve McLendon, Nathan Shepard, Henry Anderson, Kyle Phillips, guys I've literally never heard of before. If ESPN is right with telling me the defensive line,
I trust ESPN.
yeah, I do. I just, even though it's been tough for him, given what's around him, he just hasn't lived up to expectations at all.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and I think he's the guy. I was really impressed with him on his college tape. He's done some great things against good teams in college. So it's the third overall selection was certainly justified. It's just some guys just take a year. I don't really know how else to put it. We've seen guys at various positions. They literally just take a year and then they go on to have great careers.
That's very true, and his career is definitely not over. As Ryan was saying, there's still plenty of time. The talent is there. We saw it in college. He was just such a game wrecker in college, and I think it's a matter of time before we start to see a little bit more of that in the NFL. So if Jordan's done talking about random guys over there,
Well, I was looking at Quentin Williams, and defensive tackle was a rookie. The only one who leads over him is where I lost it. It's Dexter Lawrence of the Giants, but still not a very good season for Quentin Williams so far.
yeah, exactly.
He's not
It hasn't been awful, but it's definitely not number 3 overall caliber.
Mhm.
So there's a couple guys we just want to talk about. I hope you guys enjoyed that video.
Yeah, me too. I hope you guys
We
did.
love talking about these guys during
We
the
love it.
draft. Unfortunately, you guys never saw videos of us talking about them before the draft. You saw it after the draft. There are some at the beginning of our channel.
We'll get him this year.
If you
though.
want to hear more about
Yes.
that, go watch
Yeah,
early on our
keep
channel
on
to
that
see what we
We've
said.
got Joe.
Um,
We've got Tua.
yeah, we got plenty of draft videos coming up for this next draft class, but
Mm-hmm.
we just wanted to recap this draft class before we start to move on to the next.
Yep.
So thank you guys for watching this
Yeah,
video
team.
again. Make sure to like this video, subscribe, hit the notification bell, and if you comment, we will
You got
reply
one.
to your comment in some way, and probably
Chase
even listen
Young.
to what you have to say, just like we did in this video we talked about earlier.
Yep.
So, thanks again for watching, and we'll see you guys later.
See ya.